Viewers, how are you? I am Rashoka Tabas here with you, and AI tool Copilot is with me for the discussion on the topic the importance of empathy in leadership and teamwork. Uh,
I'd
my first question is what does empathy mean in the context of leadership?
Well, when we talk about empathy in leadership, we're really talking about a leader's ability to understand and connect with the emotions and perspectives of their team members. It means genuinely listening and showing that you care about what your team is going through. And that really builds trust and stronger collaboration.
Okay, why is empathy considered a key leadership skill in modern workplace?
Well, empathy is considered a key leadership skill nowadays because it really helps leaders create a supportive and inclusive environment. When a leader can truly understand their team's needs and emotions, they can motivate and engage with people more effectively. And ultimately, that leads to better teamwork and overall productivity.
Okay, how does empathetic leadership impact team morale and motivation?
Well, when a leader shows empathy, it often boosts team morale because people feel genuinely valued and understood. And that sense of being heard and supported can really lead to higher motivation levels. Essentially, when people know their leader cares about them, not just as workers, but as individuals, they're much more likely to be engaged and committed to their work.
Okay, in what ways can empathy improve communication within a team?
Empathy really smooths out communication because it encourages everyone to listen more actively and respond more thoughtfully. When team members see that their perspectives are being valued, they're more likely to share openly and work through any misunderstandings together. So basically, it creates a more open and honest dialogue, which can really minimize conflicts and build stronger connections.
Okay, how does empathy help leaders build trust with their team members?
Well, when leaders show empathy, they're demonstrating that they genuinely care about their team members as people, and that kind of understanding and support makes it a lot easier for team members to trust that their leader is on their side. So over time, that trust leads to stronger relationships and a more cohesive team overall.
Okay, can empathy influence employee engagement to productivity? If yes, then how?
Absolutely. When employees feel that their leader understands and empathizes with them, they're just naturally more invested in their work. It's like they know they're being seen as human beings and not just cogs in a machine. And that often leads to greater engagement and, of course, higher productivity because people are more motivated to contribute meaningfully.
Okay, how does an empathetic leader handle conflict differently than a non-empathetic one?
Well, an empathetic leader is going to approach conflict with a lot more understanding and a genuine interest in hearing all sides of the story. So instead of just trying to quickly fix the problem or assign blame, they really take the time to understand where everyone is coming from. And that can lead to more thoughtful resolutions where everyone feels heard and the team can actually grow from the experience rather than just having a band aid put on the issue.
Okay, what role does empathy play in understanding diverse perspective within a team?
Empathy plays a huge role because it helps leaders and team members appreciate different backgrounds and perspectives. When you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, you naturally become more open minded and respectful. And that leads to a more inclusive environment where everyone feels valued for their unique contributions.
Okay, how can empathy help leaders support team members during stressful situation?
Well, when leaders use empathy during stressful times, it's like giving a little emotional cushion to their team members. They can acknowledge the challenges people are facing and offer genuine support, whether that's by providing flexibility, listening to concerns, or just being there to say, hey, I get it, and we'll get through this together. That sense of understanding really helps people feel more resilient and supported.
Okay, is empathy something leaders are born with, or can it be developed over time?
Oh, empathy is definitely something that can be developed. It's not just a trait you're born with. And leaders can absolutely build their empathy skills over time by practicing active listening, being curious about others' experiences, and just really making an effort to understand the emotions and perspectives of their team. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Okay, how does empathy contribute to better decision making in leadership?
Well, empathy really helps leaders make better decisions because it means they're considering the human side of any choice. So instead of just looking at the numbers or the bottom line, they're thinking about how their decisions will affect the people involved. And that often leads to more thoughtful, sustainable outcomes because you're balancing both the practical and the emotional factors. So it's kind of like making decisions with heart and head together.
Okay, what are the consequences of lack of empathy in leadership and teamwork?
Well, if a leader lacks empathy, it can really lead to team members feeling undervalued or misunderstood. And that can cause disengagement, lower morale, and sometimes even higher turnover because people want to feel like their perspectives matter. So when empathy is missing, you often see more misunderstandings and conflicts that could have been avoided, and overall, just a less cohesive team environment.
Okay, how can leaders show empathy without compromising authority?
Well, it's totally possible for leaders to show empathy while still maintaining their authority. It's really about listening actively, acknowledging people's concerns, and making them feel understood. And then you can still be firm and clear when it comes to making decisions or setting boundaries. So empathy doesn't mean being a pushover. It's just about showing that you care while you lead with confidence.
Okay, in what ways does empathy strengthen collaboration and cooperation in teams?
Empathy really acts like a glue in a team because when people feel understood and respected, they're way more likely to trust each other and work together smoothly. It helps people feel comfortable sharing their ideas, asking for help, and also supporting one another. And that creates a sense of teamwork where everyone feels like they're in it together.
Okay, can empathy help leaders identify and develop individual team member strengths?
Absolutely. When leaders are empathetic, they really tune into each team member's unique talents and what motivates them. It's kind of like having a radar for people's strengths. And once they spot those strengths, they can nurture them and give folks the right opportunities to grow. So empathy helps leaders see the potential in each individual, and that can really bring out the best in their team members.
Okay, how does empathy improve feedback and performance evaluations?
Well, when leaders use empathy and feedback, it makes the whole process feel a lot more supportive and instructive. Instead of just pointing out what went wrong, they can frame it in a way that shows they understand where the person is coming from and they genuinely want to help them grow. So it feels less like criticism and more like guidance. And people tend to be more open to feedback when they feel it's coming from a place of understanding.
Can too much empathy ever become a challenge for leaders? Why or why not?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a great point. Too much empathy can sometimes make it harder for leaders to make tough calls because they might worry too much about everyone's feelings and end up avoiding difficult decisions. So there's definitely a balance to strike. It's important for leaders to be empathetic, but also maintain the ability to step back and make the call, even if it's not the most popular one. So, like with anything, it's all about balance.
Okay, how does empathy help leaders manage change and uncertainty?
When leaders are empathetic during times of change, they can really tune into how their team is feeling and address those worries head on. It means they're able to communicate with more understanding and give reassurance where it's needed, which helps the team feel more secure, even when things are uncertain. And that kind of support can keep everyone grounded and focused, making it a bit easier to navigate through changes together.
Okay, how does empathy contribute to long-term team success and sustainability?
Well, empathy really helps build a strong foundation of trust over time. And that makes team members stick around and stay committed because they feel valued and understood. And when people feel good about where they work, they're more likely to put in the effort and collaborate well in the long run. So it kind of creates a cycle where empathy leads to stronger relationships, and those relationships lead to a more resilient and successful team over time.
Okay, thank you. Allah Hafiz.